Hello there. Oh my god, there's like no room back there anymore. Welcome to the Devil's Content Part 0, aka the prequel nobody wanted. Hey, how did Arkham Origins footage get here? So the question on everybody's mind today is why I'm making this video. Well, simply, I think the video is fine, he clearly missed the mark. And to make a spiritual sequel to the original Rezoura video that came out a long time ago. But, for context, so recently I haven't weighed into all the previous tea as of late that comes and goes so quickly. Dude. The whole Blue Devil controversy was a mistake that could use some fixing up. He apologized and he moved on. We have Makino 101 doing her own thing. Then you have Martin G because he's disrespected somebody's pronouns and nuked himself from the internet, which is crazy to think about. Everything about him is just gone, and it's kind of scary. You can tell it affected some people, specifically Darkstar/Dino Crusher, which, after this video, please give him some love. He's very underappreciated. Me from the future here, turns out that he returned, and he posted a novel worthy of a response. Speaking of which, can we stop doing this? Blue Devil did it, Rezoura did it. Guys, I don't have time for this, man. Reading is for suckers, dude. Whatever. So as far as my opinion on this drama goes, it's pretty meh. On proving why others around him put him in this controversy in the first place, pointing out the hypocriticalness of with and around screenshots for good measure, all that is good, but what do you think his defense would be? Statistics backed up with depth, true understanding of gender, a real big brain moment? He links a YouTube video. I kid you not. And even the YouTube video doesn't have any links. My guy, come on. This is it, really? What you gave us is weird sketches, and I look at these and I'm like, am I back in kindergarten again? To be fair though, he does understand that gender is a social construct. He just doesn't believe in a non-binary gender. Martin, if you're listening to this, 3 things. 1, I'd love to debate you sometime on gender identity. I think it would be fun. And I'm something of a debate me bro myself. 2, but you see, Martin, there's one thing that connects us both. One thing that truly connects us on a deeper level. Something that no one else can take away. We're gamers. 3rd, thanks for the follow. Anyway, back to the video as planned. Then you have Kyo, never knew that being bald can be so sexy. You have the tweet about the guy getting triggered over one DMC Devil May Cry combo. That was funny. Oh, yeah, that guy that compared UBI to DMC, that was good. Just in, even more drama has occurred. This time for somebody sharing their own opinion. Gasp, how dare they? But that's what a lot of these dramas come down to. Point being, Alan, or as he's named now, Conquest Guides, made a video talking about the DMC community, specifically the DMC hardcores. I'll explain later. Calling them toxic. So what are my thoughts on the video? I think the overall message makes sense, but the wording is poor. A good example of this is the term DMC4 elitist. The term elitist is mostly a negative term. Usually terms like this should describe someone, not demean them. That's a poor way to start. Also, the DMC4 part doesn't make sense. Some of the hardcores play DMC3 and 5 while still having problems with it. Even some play the DMC the reboot. Sure, just because a lot of them play 4 at a high level doesn't mean that's the only game they play. But the overall video may be poorly worded, but it still makes sense and is understood. It is true this community can be incredibly toxic, but I don't think the hardcores are to fault here. Sure, I think some of the hardcores encourage this, but I don't think that it's their fault. If you see the people that defend DMC3 and hate on DMC the reboot, you'll see a lot of the similar behavior, and the same can be said who defend DMC4. Again, the wording here isn't exactly the best, but it's hard to take offense to this when 1 second he'll say that the hardcores are, and I quote, so don't get angry at me, cocksuckers, and also that DMC4 is just fine. It's clear he's not taking himself too seriously with this. Then there was the response video by DK, which had a troubled feedback, to say the least, but, God, son of a bitch. I will do a video about the whole ordeal, but this, I need to take my time. BGW, this was totally filmed on the same day. Hey, just like the Rezoura video. Look at that. Jon Favreau cannot sing for the life of him.
That is approaching, revolting, black clouds and lights surround you.
Big sad. Also, that Dante has depression tweet, which I've never agreed with Tony so hard. And yes, I will hunt down whoever retweets that, and I will destroy them. Yes, with my laser socket eyes and my katana. You think I'm joking? I've literally debated Cheeb on this. Funny haha time is over. Nice. Good job, katana. Like I said, a lot has happened. To mention all of it would be insane. But we aren't here to talk about those, are we? But you knew that already. I know we're not at the actual video yet, but for building the framework, like you must use to choose your loadout before making combo... Where was I going with this? DMC5 SE has been announced, and boy, it was something. At first, I really loved it. We're finally getting new content for DMC5. Finally, Turbo Mode and LDK. And if you are in my server and in Devilish Monin server, you know that I was hyped at first. But then I thought about it more. And the more I thought about it, the more I became frustrated. Why are we getting this after a year of this game coming out? LDK and Turbo Mode should have been there out the gate. And Virgil, for God's sake, was already in the game. And we're getting him now? Then there's the ray tracing that for some reason needed its own video. I've summed it up before and I'll say it again.
Like the only thing that I think it needed to be next gen was ray tracing, and that doesn't justify
60 XVS ray tracing.
Ray tracing.
Did ray tracing. They had a whole video dedicated to it.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I saw. I didn't watch it, but I saw that it existed.
The example that I really love is right here in this room. Notice the way that the curtains move. And as the curtains move, it affects the light shining through the window. As you can see here, this can't be done when the ray tracing is turned off.
And it's exactly what you think it is. It's like, well, you see, look at these windows. You see, the light is brighter through these windows. And it's like, wow, deep. I get it. Virgil has always been a cash cow. I just hate that the DMC community buys into this time and time again. It's just disgusting and sad at this point. It's just,
Disappointing.
And let me be clear, Chanel and James took this the wrong way. I don't think DMC Devil May Cry DE is bad in many ways. It's amazing in many other ways, but it could have used more content, like added a few moves here and there. Then there's the not coming to PC thing.
What the hell is this?
It's funny because my tweet on this is accurate. It is DMC Devil May Cry DE all over again. But then the mainstream community didn't care. But all of a sudden, when it's DMC5, yep, it certainly matters. Then we should start dislike bombing the reviews on Steam. If the community reacted like this in the same way in the first place with DE, this wouldn't have happened in the first place. I feel like if the community rises up, we'll get more than we have. I mean, if the working class came together to finally create real change, just look at how much good we can do. If we... Why is the Soviet anthem playing? I hate to do this because Jojo Wi-Fi was one of the few people that supported my Rezoura video, but... I have values. Jojo Wi-Fi has multiple issues, but let's start off with what he's in trouble for.
Absolutely nothing. And to be frank, this is 100%, in my opinion, due to the modding community.
What? So let me get this straight. The developers gave us no content after launch, not including Bloody Palace. So the modding community does their own content, and now Capcom is going to punish them for that. How is that fair? or make sense. And the worst part about this claim is that he gives zero evidence for this. The best part is the excuse that Capcom used that was Special Edition is specifically being developed and optimized to benefit the system architecture and leap in the processing power offered by PS5 and Xbox Series X. So we're focusing on these platforms. Okay, so that's the quote. Not whatever Jojo is saying.
To paraphrase, they summed it up to be, it's just not worth it. That's the way they're kind of pitching it to people as far as why they're not going to do it.
No, again, no. That's not what they said. They said it was built for future consoles.
So I promise you guys when I say this is literally just to kind of screw over the people who are modding. And I can't say I blame them.
Why are you defending this? This is one of the most anti-consumer move you could possibly do.
But wait, there's more.
In a live stream, Jojo says,
But Joe, what was that the joke you made about it not coming to PC because modders? No, 100%. So it's a joke, but I'm so serious.
it's just a joke, even though he didn't clarify in the pinned comment. Yeah, it's just a joke, even though there was a lull at the end of the description that anybody can change easily. Yeah, it's a joke, even though your tone was completely dry. Yeah, it's just a joke, even though nothing in the video told us this. But yeah, sure, it's just a joke. It's totally not a last-second excuse for a defense. Totally not. He also said,
But really, I feel like this is their way of being like, you know what? Leave it to the modders. Since you guys want to speak so highly on the modders, have the modders do it.
what? When did they say that, or even come close to that? Again, back to the quote, to benefit the system's architecture and leap in processing power offered by PS5 and the Xbox Series X, so we're focusing on these platforms. When in this statement did it say anything about modders? And that's not even the whole stream. I'm just 12 minutes into it. I haven't even brought up the clickbaiting stuff or him trying to justify it in a video. But I think that's enough context for now. For at least the main focus of the video. Besides, I'm saving it for, future things. Seriously, I'm way off topic. And finally, we're here. What do I say about this before starting this? Oh, first off, who is this guy? I mean, the same could be said about me, but since the video is on him, who is he exactly? Well, after my research, that research being looking at his channel for a few seconds, he seems to be a type of hardcore. For those that don't know what that is, it's a type of DMC player that plays a lot at the high level, usually holds DMC4 in high regard. These types of people who usually talk about inertia and how the lack of it in DMC5 is a bad thing. Now, don't get confused between hardcores and big fans of DMC. Big fans are usually more concerned about the lore and the story. Also typically don't play the games that often. Yes, they can be both, but it's very rare. And KnightNC falls into the hardcore category. Also worth mentioning is that he's a really good player. Cool, so now we know who we're dealing with. Now we know what arguments we're going to expect from him. So let's get into the video. Alrighty, a problem with the title. Content Cop hasn't been around in such a long time, and to be honest, I think the term is outdated. If he was going to use a trendy title, he failed, because the title that's used most recently is Content New. Trust me, look it up on YouTube and see what you get. So if this was supposed to be trendy in a certain way, in like a content kind of way, he didn't do well in this regard. Now, to me, titles are very important. In fact, I'd say that titles are more important than the thumbnails. Sure, the nail is more likely to draw attention for the video, but in terms of the art form, let's take an example, a movie, which is more important from a filmmaking perspective, the poster or the title? I think most of you would say the title. The same can be said for a YouTube video. And when I try and title a video, it usually sums up the video pretty well. Am I the best at this? God no. But there is an effort. The title is simple, yet a complex tool to use. But there seems to be no effort here. Another problem is the Content Cop part of the title. How, in any way, is this a Content Cop? There's little to no editing. He's not even covering a person, just one issue. So how is this a content comp? Like, anger.
Sam!
Other than talking about his content, which he's not even talking about its content, just the one clip. So that went out the window. I just don't see why.
This video's title is kind of clickbaity, but it still relates to what I want to talk about.
Oh, I see. Not any other reason. Well, at least he's being truthful. That doesn't mean all the criticisms of the title disappear, but they certainly hurt it.
No inertia and no momentum, and obviously no turbo mode. I could go on.
Those aren't the same. I get it. Both of these are missing, but it's hard to put these in the same category. Sorry, nitpick.
And this has no impact on the casual audience because they're only concerned about the game as a whole.
This is one of the problems with the hardcores as a whole, is that 1 second they'll say inertia is one of the most important part of DMC4 and the DMC games as a whole, then the next second it's just a part of the game, guys. That bit kind of annoys me. Just something I noticed from the hardcores. Now, what Knight actually says is off to me, because one of the things that the hardcores failed to do in coming across is how helpful and deep inertia is. It's especially hard to sympathize with his point of view with 1, not knowing what that is, or 2, having people disagree with it entirely. This isn't the worst take, I just believe there was a lot of depth that he just skimmed over quickly, leading to the message being rushed to rather than the foundation of the overall argument. If there was only a way to write something down and then read that for a YouTube video. Nah.
Devil May Cry, as a franchise, is, despite it being more popular than it ever has been before, is still a relatively niche title when you compare it to games like Call of Duty or Fortnite.
Why are we comparing the biggest video games that have, like, existed to DMC? This is the same idea that led to the DMC reboot being made in the first place. Not that the DMC Devil May Cry reboot was bad. I mean, I run a server about it, what do you expect? But this is what I think a lot of people at Capcom thought the numbers would be if they had a reboot. It's why I hate the comparison between huge games like Forknife and Duty of the Call, because let's face it, DMC will always be a niche. Unless, of course, you focus on the story, but I doubt that'll ever be the case.
What was I going to say?
I made fun of this earlier, but a script would really help here.
And you're in turn only, you're only dividing the DMC community even further.
Splitting the community? Huh? This is such a far-out claim. First, where's the proof of this? Second, multiple people have retweeted and asked people to watch your video. It doesn't look divided to me. I swear this term is thrown around way too much. He keeps looking at something. What do you think he's looking at? Oh, I see.
Sure, high-level players play the game one way and the casual audience plays a different way, but why can't they both coexist?
For the most part, they do, but the message of most of their problems with the hardcores is that it falls onto deaf ears. Because let's face it, you guys haven't been the best at getting across your message in an effective manner, nonetheless. The perfect time for this was the reboot era. It could have been better to explain why you guys think DMC4 mechanics were so good, in your view, at least. But like I've said before, that's not where it went. Instead, we got... Yeah, it's especially really sad when most of the average DMC fans are when they're asked about inertia, they go, what?
Yeah, right.
To leave this video on a more positive note, that Virtual Battle track is pretty sick.
Okay, wrap up time. What have we learned about this video and what is the message in general? It's really messy. It bothers me because it's a relatively short video with a very simple objective, but it seemed like he missed the mark. See what I did there? How it's put together. As you may have guessed if you watched the video, this may have taken like 1 day and at max 2. This has very little effort put into it, and it shows. But Splinter, you do very similar content with the Talking with Combo Killer series. And here's the difference. A, it's supposed to reflect a podcast highlight clip with James there adding onto it, which I doubt is the intent with this video.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I think it's
No,
about
get
time
out.
we
Nobody
do an
asked
official
you
Gotham
Podcast
Knights
Now. Get out of here.
prediction.
B, 95% of the time, I'm not talking about YouTube content. It's usually about video games, movies, and sometimes even politics, which can be talked about in a very casual manner. God knows how many podcasts out there that are about all these three. Point being, I don't believe content commentary and content criticism in general should be freestyled. And some of you may say, Splinter, but most of your Devil's content series are improvised. So how can you say that content criticism shouldn't be improvised when you yourself have done it? And the answer to that is yes. Yes, I have made improvised content in the past of criticism, and if anything, that proves my point. KnightNC, if you're listening, I have a feeling you are, if you come out learning one thing, I want you to take away this one paragraph. The reason why I made this video in the first place is this. I have done the same thing you're doing, improvising and coming up with arguments on the fly, but as you'll soon learn, because of this, not only will your editing and structure suffer, but your arguments will too, and they will fall short of what you want to truly say. A comment from Shino sums this up the best. When I asked him about one of my videos, he told me this. I can give you more of a general opinion on your content that I've watched. It's good stuff, but I think you can present your arguments more strongly, more defined in facts and logic. You grasp at some really good arguments, but because your style is so improvised to the point where it comes across a bit weak. End quote. And that's what I want to tell you, KnightNC. I've made these mistakes. I don't want you to make them too. And adding on to that, you mentioned that Jojo has a responsibility as a content creator. Wait for it. Don't you, as a content creator, I'm gonna pull the no you card, have a responsibility to do better, for it not to be thrown together, for it to properly be scripted, for it to not miss the mark? KnightNC, you have incredible potential, but as of late you seem to be getting a lot of support, especially because of that video. And it seems you're very likely to be a household name in the DMC community, if you aren't already. I just hope that you take this advice. I'm not here to bash you or anything like that. I just want you to achieve your max level. I wish you well, KnightNC, and only the very best. Alright, the video response is over. I wanted to talk about this since I'm talking about content, and more so related to the what the Rezoura controversy has taught us video. Halfpint and Rezoura are gone. Well, Halfpint is still around, but the original video on RZ isn't. And thank God he stopped making videos about that stupid porn game. I'm joking. But all traces of Rezoura are gone. Like, every video he's made, just gone. And this doesn't sit well with me. As I've mentioned before, Martin G nuked himself from the internet just like RZ. All because they got major pushback. Except RZ, he never came back. Hello? Does that set off red flags for anybody? Look in my eyes. No, really, how is this a good thing? Do I have to remind you how unbelievably toxic this community can be? And don't get me wrong, when this community comes together and does good, it can do a lot, like DMC5 coming out, and the great charity streams that came with it. But when the negatives hit, they hit like a whole new low. Yes, I'm especially talking about the reboot. Whether you hate the reboot or not, the death threats, the straw manning of the articles, and fun other goodies that came with it are unacceptable. And that's what I'm scared of. I want DMC creators to learn from their mistakes, not be deleted and bullied off the internet. You don't have to like RZ or Martin G, but just because they made mistakes doesn't mean they should be exiled from the community, period. Which I hate to go back to the Rezoura video that I made a while back, but one of my biggest problems from the start was that Halfpint's position seemed hypocritical. It's something that's always bothered me. Something I don't think hurt this video, but hurt his position. Him teaming up with CMFs is just a bit of a problem. A perfect example of this is the Jojo Wi-Fi situation. Jojo's in trouble for blaming the modders for DMC5 SE for not coming to PC. And what does HP do? The killer of Rezoura? The man had everyone's trust because of one video. He kindly talks to him, barely even mentioning the controversy. Nice. Good old Half, if you're listening, I don't have anything against you. I just think you cozying up to CMFs is just a bit of a weak point for you. I'm not going to take advantage of it, but somebody else will. This is not an attack, just a warning. Alright, a few things to mention before we close out this video. One thing I definitely wanted to mention was that one of the reasons I made this video was mostly because I needed a break from Pack 4. Pack 4 has been very exhausting on me, as you guys may have known. I've talked about it a little bit before, but I'm so close. All I've got is one video left in the series at this point of recording. By the time this video comes out, I should be done. I'm going to try and finish up on Pack 4 as best as I can. I can't wait to show it to you. I wonder how the reception is going to be. Some people may like it, some people may hate it, I think. But I just kind of think it depends. I think overall the style of the videos kind of really works with like most people, because it's kind of easy to pick up and understand easily. Don't know how this will shape my overall channel just yet, but we're working it out as we go. As you may have guessed, one of the reasons I also made this video was that I really like commentary. As you've seen by my many videos on the Devil's Content series, I have this obsession almost, of this type of style of videos. I think this is probably a weak point? But like every now and again, for some reason, I feel like I much touched upon it. I really have always had a thing for tackling arguments, but here's the thing that's kind of slowly replacing it, is debates. See, making videos like reacting to like another person's content is helpful, but I think it's even more helpful if I actually have a debate with that person. Like, it's one thing to like make a response video, and then there's just another thing of, you know, of actually talking to them face to face. And I think that that's kind of a different experience, and that's slowly replacing that content commentary stuff. It's not that commentary for me is dead. Obviously with this video it's clearly not. But it's just slowly starting to take that away. So I'm liking that. Don't know the future of the content commentary stuff is. Like I said, I mentioned that all the way back when on my, like, one of my other jacket offs or something like that, I mentioned one of my videos that I was going to do special for number 10, and that's why I named this number 0, because I didn't want to take out that special 10 place. I have something very in-depth planned for number 10. I wanted to be like a huge video, like super responsive, takes all chunks of the argument, you know, stuff like that. I really want to push myself when it comes to that. I don't want to just go back to what I used to, which was, oh yeah, boy oh boy, can't wait to improvise and make up content commentary on the fly and just kind of react to what people say, when, like I said, I can just debate that person. As also, you may have noticed as of recent, this channel has gone with a new series called Talking with Combo Killer. A lot of people may dislike this. I have a feeling that some people do, but the Talking with Combo series has really helped me stress-wise, because before I was having an issue of pumping out videos nearly weekly, or pumping out videos just in general, mostly because I like to take my time with this kind of stuff, and the Talking with Combo series has really helped, actually, because like I said, with Pack 4, if I really want to work on something big and long and extravagant and have multiple series of videos about it, I really couldn't do that back then unless I was actually releasing them as soon as I finished them. But that's not the case with the Talking with Combo Killer series, because you see, I have like one conversation with him, and then that gives me like 6 videos, so I'm set for like 6 weeks, if not a bit more. Depending how much was actually in that one conversation that I recorded. So while some people may not like the Talking with Combo Killer series, for me it takes way less stress off my back, and I think just helps me overall. While some of you may not like the content, I think it's really good because it teases some of my other stuff, which is something that I'll definitely be doing more. As you've probably seen with those last 2 debates, I've teased it multiple times in other Talking with Combo Killer series until it got released, and I really like that idea, and I'm going to keep on running with that. I've also been working, or as soon as I finish Pack 4, I'm going to get right away started on Pack 5. In fact, I have, for the most part, like about, if not more than halfway of the scripts done. So, yeah, that's going to be good. I can't wait to show off that. Again, packs are going to be a bit different from now on. They're going to rely on something that, you know, certain ideas that I have and just running with those ideas. Also, I put on the jacket just for old time's sake. By the way, if you guys didn't know, somebody asked me about my jacket, and I was like, oh yeah, and then I looked around in my closet and I found it, and I was like, I haven't worn this in like such a long time. It's literally just been collecting dust in my closet, which is kind of crazy to me. Remember when I used to wear that all the time? Remember when I used to wear these, my guy? But I think it's because, like, and this kind of ties back to what I was saying, since my content and style has changed a lot, I haven't really been able to keep a consistent, not narrative, but character for myself. So, I don't know if that's a good thing, or like a bad thing, or like somewhere in between, I don't know. And lastly, I want to say shout outs to KnightNC. If he's taken all this into account, he either, there's two ways I see this kind of going. Either A, he kind of accepts a lot of the things that I said. He may disagree with things here and there, but I think he'll overall get the message. Or least likely see is that he'll probably see this as like something offensive against him, and he's going to get super riled up at. I don't think there will be anything between the two. I think it will mostly be one or the other, excuse me. But yeah, I hope you have a nice day, and let me do my flip. Remember this. Bring down the borders. Karl Marx was right. Communism, baby. Peace out.